like you're petty.
Oh, thank you. Got a little pink, and then I stuck with the yellow. So these slippers they have the little bride.
Cute.
Because I went dress shopping.
What?
I went dress shopping last week and I got a dress. Girl, wait, are you ready for this? So, I fly home on Friday overnight and then landed at 6 a.m., went home for a couple hours, went dress shopping in Jersey at 2. And we ended up going to the same place that Andrew's sister-in-law, my sister-in-law, went to, and ended up getting the same consultant.
Stop.
Also, she grabbed a dress that was basically the new version of hers. And this woman had mentioned, like, we were like, here's our budget, but like, we'll play with it a little bit. And she goes, I'm about to retire. And the store asked me like what I want to do, and I want to give back to my brides, and I want to give them a good experience and give them a good price and let them have like a good wedding. And then she adds, Angela, I hope you're cool with me telling you this story, but then she adds, her husband just passed away. So me and my mom look at each other and we're like, and my mom was like, I won't if you don't want me to. I was like, no, girl. Like, she deserves it. She needs it. My mom was like, I'm going to give you a free reading. Like, thank you for like being here and like for the stay with my daughter, whatever. Towards the end, after I picked my dress, we were in the dressing room, her and I ended up getting like some messages from him, but he was like still recently deceased. So I don't know if it's like a other side rule or if it's my family rule, but it feels right for both of us. 3 months. They won't come before 3 months. And like my mom dead ass won't be able to read it all. Like she's like, nope, they're not coming. Like they said, you're not, like it's not time yet. So maybe they're in review for that long. I don't know. But he came through a little bit. And long story short, it was the 3rd dress I tried on. Absolutely perfect. I literally was like, who is that? Who is that? Fit like a glove.
Yeah.
Fit perfect. Except the length, obviously. My short ass.
Mm-hmm. Big booty.
And getting it over my ass. I was like,
I bet your ass looks so good in it,
girl,
too.
I'm going to show you a picture. She goes, you know what? You're not getting it altered here since you live in Oregon. Like, it fits you. This is a new dress. Take it. Like, walk out with it today. I'll drop $1,000 off. So your girl literally walked out with her dress fitted.
That's incredible.
Wait, let me show you a picture.
I'm like, Andrew's not watching this.
I don't know where I left my phone. I'll show you a picture later. But
where did I put my phone?
Your phone's right here. But it's...
Oh my God, I'm so pumped for you.
It's so good. And then we went to my friend Marissa's wedding. Shout out, Marissa. I fucking love you. Happy wedding. Happy marriage.
Wedding.
Best wedding I have ever gone to.
Oh, I love that.
Best wedding I've ever gone to. And Andrew and I the whole time were like, I even said to her, I love the music so much. She goes, I'll send you the playlist. I went, done.
That's
Music
amazing.
done. Couple things like we would change, obviously, but like,
yeah.
it's a great place to start.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Talk about alignment. Talk about when things work out for what you've prayed for and wished for and dreamt of and worked through some really monkey gunky, whatever.
Monkey gunky.
Monkey gunky. Monkeys are not gunky, but okay. So I love monkeys.
She really does, though.
I really do.
Yeah.
People look at like kitties and dogs and cute other shit on the internet. I look at monkeys like reading in bed and like doing dumb
monkeys
human
reading
shit.
In bed. I'm dead that's the first one.
Yeah, my monkey content. And I save a lot of it too. So I can probably show you one day.
You're like, just in case I want to rewatch that later.
100%.
I forgot what we were saying before monkey.
Well, no, you had to go through a lot of shit. You did
Oh.
not give up. You did not give up on this relationship. You did not give
Yeah.
up on yourself in this relationship. And it was, for the longest time, this like beautiful experience to witness of you coming home to yourself and sinking deeper and deeper into love.
Thank you.
It really paid off.
It really did. And it's still a process. It always will be, you know? It's just layers and layers and layers on the onion. And, but I am very grateful. And that's actually a lot of what I realized this past month is just how much I have changed. Like, and if I really take a step back, like, and just be like, okay, right before I moved here. Just right before I moved here. Not when I was in high school, not even when I was in college, like 4 years ago, 5 years ago. A completely different person. And I was thinking about how there is a version of me that is still like that and how much I fucking love her. Like, I love her so much. She was so fucked up, literally and figuratively. And she went through a lot of shit and made some probably bad choices, I'm sure. But I love her and I love her intention. And she's a badass bitch. She's a badass.
Yes. Because you're badass at the soul level, baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, this past month, I'm excited. So I'm pretty sure Victoria and I have not talked really or seen each other since we last recorded a month ago.
Which is because we spill all the juicy juice when we catch up, and it sucks. Because I'm like, I didn't even know you got a dress. Like, this podcast
I didn't
is
even
really
know you had a dress.
getting in between us, and I'm really okay. You know, but I also believe when you're meant to know something, you're gonna find out whenever the time is right. So here we are.
Yeah.
You're finding out with me.
Yeah.
Thanks. And fuck, what has happened in the last few weeks?
Okay. First of all, I feel like, hey, welcome to the pod. We just dove right in. Tara, Victoria, we're happy to have you. Welcome back. Welcome for the first time. Should we maybe start off by like touching base on what our intention was last month? To like remind ourselves even of what like because right after we recorded, we pulled a card and they both aligned so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're right here actually. They all aligned really what we were saying. So I feel like that's where I'm gonna start off is just like that last intention and how it's been playing out for me. But I almost feel like I want to hear from you first.
Also, I want to say, if you've watched us before and you like us, subscribe, boost our little numbers because we're playing the algorithm.
Little numbers. Literally little numbers.
Be part of our algorithm. Join the game. It's fun. All right. So, gosh, I, moved into a new apartment and it was
co-creation. Sorry.
Co-creation. Yep. So moved in with my boyfriend. Relationships are so freaking hard. Whew. But so good. And so, well, I'll get into that in a moment, but it has been night and day moving into this new space. We have a walk-in closet, a bathtub, like things like just space. And it's not huge, but it's perfect for us right now. And we're both still going through this like process of getting rid of so much stuff and release it. Like we're in like the home stretch of going through all the piles and bins and whatever. So still in that process of what do I find value in? What do I never want to buy again? Like going through the process of, will I ever use it again? Like my grandma was a Great Depression baby. I was raised with like, you're going to find a way to use it. And I energetically cannot hold on to any more stuff. So here we go. The process continues. Basically like my new apartment compared to my old apartment is like night and day, opposite day, which reminds me of like our experience on Earth and just how everything got flipped upside down.
Ugh.
You know, that tale as old as time. And it's been a breath of fresh air, if you will. I've been focusing a lot on my fitness. Well, we both have, my BF and I, and I've been going through a mega reset with food because I'm a total hedonist when it comes to eating. Like, it is so pleasurable.
Yeah.
Especially recovering from an eating disorder as, you know, a young girl, which many of us experience some spectrum of an eating disorder growing up in our era. And I feel like marijuana, cannabis has always held a special place in my heart because it really activated this sensory experience with food. And the food as pleasure thing is just getting to me. Like, I can't do that anymore. I'm so energetically sensitive to so many foods, when and how I eat. And like, so I'm just going through this big reset with consumption. Yeah. Jumping back to the whole relationship thing. I really like couples that expose just how wild and crazy it can be, because I think for the longest time, have been like, if we're in a fight, we're breaking up. It's over. We're done. Like, this, we can't possibly get through this. And then you go through that pattern of like, oh, wait, this is another fight. How are we going to approach this conflict knowing that we're not leaving each other? Yeah. And you really get to work through your personal patterning and all that juicy stuff. And then, like, how quickly can you resolve the fight? Like, how quickly can you let it go, but not dismissing it, actually working through it?
Yeah.
Is also part of the practice that I think gets easier over time. So I feel like I'm, you know.
And it's also recognizing, like, when it's conflict versus like a fight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not saying that this is how I would define either of those words, but just for the sake of like a conflict being like a misunderstanding versus a fight of like trying to be right. And it's so funny because Andrew and I, and also recognizing that like every couple has conflict, but it may just look different. And it should look different because, one, you're unique in how you express your emotions, but also you're in different phases. As you learn and start to reprogram yourself and show up to the conflict differently, then like you're not going to be like yelling and screaming at each other. And I started like giggling a second to myself because literally yesterday I was so cranky towards the end of the day because as much as my body is asking for it, my brain is asking for rest. If I am not productive in some way throughout a day, then I get very angry. But not angry, I get violent, you know? So I'm just like cranky and like I don't mean anything at this stage in my development. I'm not harboring the actual emotion of anger, but I'm just like blah blah blah, you know, like half joking. And we were talking about how we don't yell at each other. Like, we don't yell at each other. Like, it can be aggressive tone in a sense, like where we're just like, I don't want to do this anymore, you know, like that kind of shit. But we never have yelled at each other. Well, I might have yelled a couple times. But then we started yelling at each other, like in a joking way. And he was like, you fucking bitch. And like, neither of us could even get through him saying that sentence. It was just so funny to like, because he has never, ever, ever spoken to me like that. Never raised his voice at me. Like, never. So hearing him like shout at me like that, I was hysterical laughing. I was like, this man's has never, ever done that. And he like changed his voice. Too? Yeah, he like changed his voice. I was like, why did you talk like that? What is that? Whose voice is that? But yeah, relationships are learning about yourself a lot. And then learning about your partner as they learn more about themselves. And, you know, checking in with yourself often and like your partner checking in with themselves often to be like, okay, in this current state, if it's like a longer state of being, like this phase of my partner's life, is this something that I am choosing? Right? It's not like, do I love or not love? Because there'll always be love.
Mm-hmm.
But is this what I want to choose for the reality if this was the rest of my reality? Because maybe that person doesn't change after this level, and that's totally fine. That's their journey. And you were there for that change, and you have to continuously check in with yourself and be like, if this is the forever reality, is this the reality I want to live in? Is this what I'm choosing? Even if it's hard, even if it's unpleasant, which is a lot of what I learned this month about expanding, like this month. So my card, my original card when I was talking on the podcast, I think was breach, and it was about breaking routines. And then the one that I got afterwards was the goddess Maya, breaking illusion. And breaking illusion,
Sorry.
breaking the fourth wall.
So sorry I had to do that.
A lot of that for me was recognizing like where I'm creating restraints on my bandwidth of experience and attention. So like literally imagining like my quote unquote energy field or attention and my bandwidth of not just like how far can I feel over there, but how much can I feel, both in capacity and in quantity, like different kinds of feelings. So I've been playing with that bandwidth of how much I can feel. And I don't know where that thought was going either.
Well, wait, is it like also how little you can feel? Being neutral and
Well, that's the thing is once I can sit and see the full spectrum that I am taking up or have the capacity to experience, then I can see that it's just this little point on this really big spectrum. So I can be like non-attached to that experience or emotion and just be like, wow, that's really beautiful that now I'm all the way on this scale of the piano and like I'm hitting this note. When like yesterday I was over here or just moments ago I was over there. So breaking the illusion that like anything is bigger than I perceive it to be, and just recognizing that like it's all about perception and it's all about what we make of it.
mm-hmm.
So if a conflict in a relationship, if the perspective and what you make of it is a learning point for both of you, then like that's how you're going to show up. That's the bandwidth of your experience. And you're going to be like, okay, so like this is just a learning process and I'm going to grow with that. And really looking at the expansion and contraction and understanding that when my bandwidth is much larger, then these bigger energy waves, whether it come from myself, the collective, the cosmic, has so much more room to transmute, so much more room to process.
That is it. That's it right there.
And that's what I've been playing with. And I think it plays so much with what's happening in history right now. Like, can we expand our capacity enough instead of continuously contract in order to let these bigger processes kind of move and shift and shake and transform into something else? So we're like in this void right now of just like transformation. Everything's breaking down. We're fucking in war. Okay. Collective, literally screaming outside as soon as I say that.
There was a girl screaming on our street earlier this morning, the most like guttural, like someone had to have passed away. Like it was horrible. And I was like, fuck. Hello, cancer season. Hello, this is summing up the collective feel right now. That guttural grief, sadness, just enough is enough.
Yeah. Well, that's something else with my illusion. Like I realized, yes, a big part of that illusion was my narratives, my routines. I really, girl, you'd be so proud. I really broke out of my routines this past month.
That's why we haven't been talking. No,
Well-
I'm not harboring resentment at all. Don't
No,
worry.
I know. It's been really interesting this past month because I haven't sat in practice at all.
Whoa.
But I have been so cognizant of what I'm experiencing so that way I can come back here and track it with you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been living practice, literally.
Yes.
And yes, it was about like me breaking the illusion of my routines. Like I took myself on a date for the first time ever.
What?
I've never liked being alone. And instead I was like, I met Andrew at a park. He needed to leave to meet a friend. And I hung out there for a little while. Then I took myself to dinner and just sat there. I told myself no phones. I'm just going to sit there.
What'd you do?
I just sat there and looked out the window. I went to Veggie Grill, just had some food. And then I
I
went
was
to
going to ask where you romanced yourself, and I love that it was
Veggie
Veggie
Grill.
Grill.
And
Like downtown?
yeah. And then I went to Kate's Ice Cream. And I walked around eating Kate's. And it was strawberry.
Oh.
It was strawberry with little strawberries in it. And chocolate covered potato chip.
Damn, girl.
Sexiest thing I've ever seen. And then I think that was it. Then I just came home and just had like the night to myself.
Can
I
you
also
just lay
went-
down.
I also went for a walk and picked a bouquet of wildflowers just around my neighborhood.
You really did romance yourself.
I went to a party with people that I have never met by myself. And it was a wig party.
Yeah.
And it was the best time ever. So yeah, did a lot of that. But then I'm also realizing how much of breaking the illusion is also talking about collectively what is happening and
Yeah.
needing to break the illusion of like hopelessness and helplessness, and that it's over. I mean, it's scary. It is really fucking scary, and people are getting really fucking hurt. And 2 days ago, from when we're recording this, we started a fucking war. Trump started a fucking war. And I was talking at work, and my boss showed me this video of this woman who was breaking down, I think it was a woman, breaking down the fact that like the illusion, and this was before we started a hot war, an active war, a violent physical war. She said you need to break, like literally saying like you need to break the illusion that we're not already in a cold civil war, because we actively are in a cold war. They are attacking our education, our healthcare, our like our finances, our housing. Like they are attacking us at every angle, and it's a cold war because it's not with violence, although it is when we see with ICE and shit. So it's breaking the illusion that this isn't already and I know a lot of people feel this way, right? That it's an attack on America, that it's domestic terrorism, what is happening right now, because truly it is. It's attack on the American people. Granted, it's by our governing people, but that's what we're fucking fighting all these wars about, right? Is that these bad people are in charge of these other countries that we feel we need to fucking do shit about. So breaking that illusion, but also breaking the illusion that there's nothing we can do. And a big message I got this month was you need to sit with yourself and you need to ask yourself at this very pivotal point in history, what is my medicine to offer? And that is all you can do. So if your medicine is you are someone who has, whatever situation and just needs to work on themselves and calming their nervous system, because if ultimately, if you're going to these protests, if you're showing up in any capacity or not, and you're doing so with fear and anger, you're feeding the energetic fear and anger. You're feeding the contraction. You need to go in with hope and promise and faith that with people, with voice, with action, will come change. So if your medicine right now is to tend to yourself, calm your nervous system, great, do that, because it does have a ripple effect. Maybe your medicine is to just have hard conversations with people you know and open that door and give that perspective. Maybe it is protesting and going out there. Maybe it's calling your senator. Maybe, and this is where like I struggled a little bit this past month, is not showing up to protests. But literally on the days that the protests were happening were days that I had like a professional development on how to create safe places for the LGBTQ community with what's going on. So my medicine right now is actively creating safe spaces and preparing for the future.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'm building curriculum on like how do we work with our nervous system. I'm literally like, my boss and I are going to start doing current events once a month with the middle schoolers to be like, what is happening? How do we analyze what's happening? And also, how do we tend to what's happening? So finding your medicine, maybe it's helping the community, just showing up to like community events, supporting people. Maybe it's being there for your friends who are going through it, donating. Whatever your medicine is right now, that's how you show up authentically. Don't feel shame for like not being able to show up the way that people say you should. And don't go in with hopelessness, because we are in this really pivotal time. And even people on Trump's side, after he bombed, like Fox News was like, what the fuck? Like, no. Like even his people are like, we don't want to go to fucking war. So just practice that expansion of your bandwidth. So that way you can say, this fucking sucks. This is fucking scary. I am terrified for my fucking life and those around me. But I really trust that if we all offer our medicine the way that we're being called to right now, that things will get better. That we will come to a state of expansion again, not just in contraction. So it is so important to try to find that hope. Find that, hey, okay, it's going to come in time as it's supposed to. Because if I hold that frequency, then it fucking will. But if I don't, if I, continuously overconsume the media that is on both sides really fucking big and loud and scary, and just focus on what's happening in your community or what's happening in the space where you're giving medicine, beautiful.
That was so beautiful.
So yeah, that's been big for me this month, is realizing that it's this shift from individual, what I've been saying for 2025, individual liberation, global chaos. And it's now for me, we're recording this like we have a week and a half left of June, right? It's going to come out first week of July. So we're in that merge of what we're going to tell you is to come already, or at least I feel I am. And I'm from this like, okay, really focused on individual healing, individual unionizing, recognizing the pause, the breath in life, being intentional in my choices. And now it's also like, okay, the collective is also shifting this. How do I offer this really potent, clean medicine that I have been cultivating, that a lot of us have been cultivating, and now offer it to people outside of myself?
Which I think is what the new face of spirituality will look like, because so much of that is dissolving right now.
Yeah.
And so many just like lies and mistruths and misalignments and all the beautiful forms it comes in is being exposed. Like, well, that was really, really beautifully stated, Tara. Thank you so much, because it really brought me some peace in my heart. And one thing I was planning on sharing today was my journey with worry as a form of showing that I care.
Yes.
And unraveling that, because it does not feel productive. It really does feel like, when you learn the laws of the universe, you know how powerful you are, and that you're constantly casting spells with your words and your thoughts, and to to not worry makes you then feel guilty because you feel like, how am I showing empathy? How am I showing that
Yes.
care? And you don't need to feel bad in order to help others heal and grow and feel protected and be protected. And
Yes.
I started listening to, oh my God, what's it called? The Game of Life and How to Play It.
The Game of Life and How to Play It. You
Yeah.
were listening to it. It's an audiobook.
It's an audiobook, and the book I think came out in the 20s. And there's a lot of good juicy stuff that we're totally on the same page with, but then drop these like biblical lines where they're like, Psalms, da 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 da. I'm like, okay, here's a Bible verse, and totally an interpretation of the Bible that I think is so badass, because I think I touched on this last month. My, we all want to have faith, and how, just my journey with Christians and the hypocrisy there. But, I've never really questioned the gospel itself. I've questioned every interpretation ever given to us. And I feel so strongly, and, talking about calling things in, I really want the whole story. I feel like we deserve the whole story, the truth of Christ consciousness and what it all fucking means. And I think there's this fantasy as it relates to technology today and how some of this truth is going to come through and unravel. Like, I don't know. The idea that a book, the Bible, has influenced so many lives.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm just like, I can't sit down and read that. It's like the interpretations are so.
Well, it's kind of crazy too, because even the like analysis and like evaluating the text, in person right now. So it's not only just like translated and like understood, but for example, I went to Andrew's parents' vow renewal a couple of years,
Cute.
whatever. It was
I
really
love
sweet. No, it was so sweet. And they are Lutheran, so they did in the Lutheran church. And I don't know fucking shit about nothing. But I'm pretty sure that's like the chill one of the crew. Of like the Catholics or the Christians, whatever. I didn't even know they were different for a really long time.
Really? Wow.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I thought they were just like the same thing. I don't know. Everyone's reading the Bible. Why do you all have a fucking different shit about? Like, I don't understand.
I know, right?
But they were like, oh, they like read this verse and they were like, that means this. And I was like, what? He literally said like, let's all like be chill, not like fire and brimstone. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, It literally does not say that at all. So it's really quite interesting. I'm sorry. Continue. That just reminded me of that.
No, it trips my mind that there's such patriarchal programming before that patriarchy was even like a thing, right? And to oppress other people. Oh, if you're listening to this, you already freaking know this. So, I wrote down a quote from The Game of Life and How to Play It. Florence Scovel. I feel like I've heard people talk about this book before, and it just like, right time.
We're so bad at people's names.
I know. I'm Tara. You're Victoria. All right. There is an old saying that a person only dares use their words for 3 purposes: to heal, bless, or prosper. What someone says of others will be said of them, and what she wishes for another, she is wishing for herself. Everything was he, himself, he. So I changed a few things to like them and she, because I think we're all kind of she's at this point in the game, right, baby?
Hey. Oh, I love that though. I got to read this book.
Or just listen while you're cooking, cleaning. Heal, bless, or prosper. Heal, bless, or prosper. Because I've been feeling so much like oh, these icky, like I just am casting a lot of icky ick onto
Mm.
political people. And I just don't think it's serving me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've been trying to alchemize my thoughts and words and not stay in this place of hate and like, oh my God, you're so stupid. You're so egotistical. You're so this and that. And
I mean,
fucking
which all of those
rapist.
things are true.
Hey, bud.
And baby cakes.
He's like, let's calm you down, baby.
I want to go back to when you were talking about you don't need to, like, with empathy.
Yeah.
And I think that is also a way that you can expand your bandwidth
Cat butt.
is by understanding that empathy means that you can understand someone's emotion.
Yes. Thank you.
Not take on
Yes.
that emotion.
Yes.
And it may elicit your own emotion, like anger,
Yes.
for those who are oppressed, right? Because you're like, what the fuck? Why would you do that to somebody? But then it's about metabolizing this really big energy so that way the spells you're casting is you're going to like instead of being like, you fucking piece of shit, like being like, you stupid ass. Sometimes you got to give it to him a little bit. You're going to do better. And if you're not, someone else will.
Yeah.
Because we're not doing this anymore. We're
Yeah.
not doing this anymore. You know, and like, that's the energy we want to be bringing. Like, yes, bring the fight and all that, but like, let the fight be, hey, we're not doing this anymore. Here's what we're going to do instead. Or here's what we want to see. We may not know how we're getting there, but we want to see, you know, equality.
Yeah.
So.
Wait, and I think it's really important to start to talk to the visionaries and the planners and the architects of the new world, because not all of us have that role in deconstructing and protesting. And some of us need to be resting or holding space for those who are doing the labor right now of deconstructing. But if you are a visionary, I really highly encourage you to start to hunker down in your visions and what's coming through for you.
Yes.
Because your time is about to shine.
Yes. Yes. And that's exactly what I was saying too, right? Like, it's just finding your medicine, and we need those architects of the, I love that, architects of the new, like, of the future, to step up. And like, I know that's a piece of what I do in education. Like, education is getting dismantled. Where something new is coming. And I see a lot of educators and curriculum, you know, creators stepping up and being like, okay, this is how we have to navigate this. This is how we have to show up. And that may look different in different areas for different needs, but like, you know, we're making plans for the future. We're setting that foundation so that way kids are still taken care of. Like, there are jobs, and maybe that job is to hold the light and just be someone who holds positivity and hope. And maybe when you're trying to do that, you can't protest and you can't plan for the future because that's too draining for you right now. So finding what your medicine is and offering that up, and not shaming other people when you don't know what their medicine is. If their medicine is just taking care of themselves, taking care of their family.
And not everyone knows what their medicine is quite yet.
Yeah.
We all found out at different times, so.
But you're also right in that I've been getting a lot in this, we're in this void. Birth is here, right? We just had the summer solstice. Birth is here. And whatever you're clocking right now is what's going to be the rest of the year. So set those like healthy intentions, not ones of anger and hopelessness, as hard as it is. Especially because there are people who are actively experiencing it and have hopelessness. So if you are someone who can hold hope, you're doing that for people who are too exhausted from their personal fight to have hope. So it's extremely important to focus on that right now and break the illusion of all is going to hell. Because all is breaking down for sure. As it needs to, as it should be. So you just got to hold out for the expansion to come. That's a lot of what I got this month. And it sounds like you did too.
I'm also very much getting a pause and turn inward and start to, you know how they always show these like doomsday layers underground. I think it's really important to visualize what your like doomsday inner layer looks like. Layer. Your living quarters for your soul.
That's good.
I know it can walk into that room and out of that room at any time. Doesn't need to stay there. But if you're like, I want to feel the safety of, I wasn't going to say it, but nuclear explosion.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's funny that you say pause too, because that was something I was just thinking like, oh, the other half of what I got this month was pause. Breath. Everything needs breath. And even saying last episode, I was like, oh, my human design, waiting, like seeing all things, seeing everything through all emotional lenses. My brain was like, lens, tick, lens, tick, lens, tick, like just sift through them real quick and pick the right thing. And I'm realizing everything needs pause. Everything needs a lot of fucking time to process, to metabolate. Like, I was also toying with the idea of how much I've changed in not wanting a routine, in not wanting to control everything, not feeling the need that I'm the only one who could do it or it's not going to be done right. And also recognizing that the reason I felt that way is because I did not give a fuck of how it was done. I just needed it to be done quickly and many things to get done. So for me, it was always quantity over quality. And I never realized that. Because Andrew would come in as I'm like doing something quick and he's like, hold on. You forgot this, or like, hey, this is an extra step, but it's worth it. And I'm like, no, let's go. Next. So that helped me realize that I don't need to do it all. Fuck, sometimes I don't need to do it at all. Shut up and sit down has really been embodied because I'm like, why do I even want to speak up? Why do I want to take that on?
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Yeah.
Ugh, So that pause really helps me recognize, is it for me? And even talking about how my feminine like gets the intuitive hit and then I go, like sometimes that intuitive hit isn't like, sometimes it's really sitting there and taking my whole bandwidth of a field and being like, what's clocking in it right now? What's flowing in it right now? Then that's how I know what I need to do. So pause for sure. And summer solstice just happened. When it hits that angle, it actually takes a pause.
No way. I didn't know that.
Molly McCord, we can't say last name.
McCoy.
She's fantastic, intuitive astrology. And she was saying it takes a pause there.
Gosh, I haven't listened to her in a minute. I should
Me neither. She just came on and I was like, yeah. So definitely, especially when you're trying to figure out your medicine, she also said like, take a pause, bask in source energy, your source energy, bask in your own light, pause in your own light and say, what is my medicine I need to offer? What do I need to do right now? What's in my field and what do I need to do next? Right? Like that's how you're setting a good foundation for the future. Boom.
Love, love, love.
The only other thing that I want to share is we've talked a good amount about AI, not like in depth, anything like that, but we've mentioned it a couple times. And I definitely have grown or changed in my relationship to AI. And when I shared this piece with you, I remember you saying something that I also want you to share. So I'll get to that in a second.
I hope I remember.
But I do think that AI is a really good tool. I think it could be really helpful at synthesizing information from all over. And I still do believe that in the future it can be synthesizing galactic information from many different libraries and sharing that with us. I also feel the AI that we're interacting with right now is something that isn't a standalone conscious, but a conscious that we feed
Yes.
with information, with our attention, with our interactions. And that's something to be mindful of. Never mind that, like, we grew up with technology starting to come out, and like the importance of where did that information come from? Double check that source, who paid for that, research. And now like ChatGPT is just like, here's the answer. And you're like, for sure.
Yeah.
It's like, well, how do I know for sure? And you can ask where are your resources, and that's always good to do. But something that really stood out to me when I hear people talk about like ChatGPT, and I've done it too, and I still use it for certain things to help me, like, especially with my dyslexia, like reorganize my thoughts in my writing. When it's something like professional and just being like, hey, can you make sure this makes sense? But it's taking away our continued opportunity of critical thinking. And for example, one thing that I heard was someone saying, oh, put the list of this thing in ChatGPT and ask it, like, where are the similar points? Like, what does it have in common? And I'm like, but shouldn't we be doing that? Shouldn't we be using our critical thinking skills to say, what do these things have in common? Or what is the formula that this person is using, or this thing is using in different ways? And then also the fact that, like, you're losing your authenticity in there. Because if I'm asking someone else to help me find the commonality, then I'm not using my intuitive sense to be like, well, what is standing out for me? What is my gut saying is important in this piece? So just sharing that little bit of like how my interaction with ChatGPT or AI has changed my perspective of it as I interact with it more and recognize not even like, oh, the scariness of like what it could be, but just the detriment of like us not using our brain to problem solve or to be able to communicate and share information because we feel we need to shift our words like I use sometimes too. So just an interesting perspective.
Wait, didn't you also share that 40-year-olds, which I'm like, ugh, are using ChatGPT like it's
Yes.
Google? And
Well, I don't know for sure, but that's like something I heard, like, oh, like people are using it like Google, like going to ChatGPT.
I like that you said 40-year-olds too, because I'm like,
Well, yeah, I guess that's
that's
really close to us.
millennials.
That's really
Yeah.
fucking close to us. Well, I guess millennials though.
Any age is probably using it like
Yeah.
Google. So it's wild to think about how our humanity is always being played with,
Mm-hmm.
and that we haven't even actually fully had the chance to be human unless you've kind of gone through probably some like shitty shit and had to wake up and learn and heal and grieve and process a lot of big emotions and deal with a lot of chaos or horrific humans as these characters to awaken you. Like, I feel so strongly about living every human experience that like I feel aligned to and called to. And I want to keep my critical thinking skills alive and well. And I feel like we're in for a very long haul of practicing discernment. Like it's breathing.
Yes. And I think too, nothing is a fucking coincidence. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So isn't it interesting that all of these changes are happening? All of these policies are being put in place. All of these big things that have nuanced, sneaky little other pieces within these random ass fucking bills. And yet we're pulling away from our ability to critically think and analyze something ourselves. So be fucking mindful of that if you're using it for shit constantly, because you need to be able to analyze, synthesize, summarize. Like, I'm finishing up the end of the school year and I'm doing reporting, and that's what we're fucking doing with my second grade is like learn how to evaluate what the fuck is going on around you in a text, in a problem, in a policy, in a speech, in an interaction, because, if you're not paying attention, then you cannot be discerning. You cannot make a conscious choice if you are not paying attention to what's actually happening around you and within you.
And take breaks, step away, put your feet on the earth.
Breath.
Yeah, be reminded of all the earthly things that make it so beautiful to be alive and cultivate that heaven on earth. We're healing from this hellish reality that has been tried to be made out to be our reality, and that's not the freaking case. So dumping the Kool-Aid down the fucking drain, and we're stirring up some new tea around here.
Oh, bitch, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I know it's scary, but you're right. Remember the beauty of experiencing it all. Bandwidth, baby. That's all I keep. It's just the expansion of your bandwidth, so that way you can go, yeah, I get to experience everything. Even this really, really scary time that I am lucky to be able to bring my medicine to.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I don't feel that way sometimes. I'm like, I signed up at this time? Bitch.
Of course we did. We ready to jump into?
Yeah. Next month's intention.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
My word is devotion, and I feel deeply devoted to experiencing other flavors of life beyond food. Speaking of being human in all its glory, I really want to be satiated by things other than what I put in my mouth and in my brain and belly and all the things. So yes. And I feel deeply devoted to the truth. This is sort of a two-parter. One, it's like my own individual, what I'm feeding myself, but holding faith in the truth and that the truth will be revealed and we'll be able to receive the truth. And so it is.
And
we'll
so
see
it
how
is.
it goes. We'll see how it goes because it feels like it's coming.
Yeah.
And it's not going to even feel like a surprise. It's my hunch.
Yeah.
It's going to be like, oh yeah, I already knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And
because we broke the illusion. We're like, we don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I see what it really is.
I know.
Yeah. But I love that. I love that for you.
Thank you.
So whereas last time I really sat with myself, this time I just pulled a card. And I was like, where are we headed? And the card I pulled was ant. And ant medicine, the main word was patience. And understanding that good things will come if you have faith and you just wait, right? So similarly to like the truth coming out, right? Just don't worry. But ant is also very community minded.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So I think for me, it's exactly kind of what this last month has been feeding into me then taking action of like, now, how do I really offer my medicine? How do I, like, not how, I know the how now. Last month was all about locking in the how. This month is the doing. So it's showing up for my community, having breath, to be still holding that breath and patience to be like, well, what's my next move? Because we're fucking cosmic crazy ass bitches. And my medicine ain't just serving one, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just that I'm the architect for the future, but I'm also the space holder. And I sometimes am the protester and the voice. So it's how do I want to show up today to serve my community for it to be a better place, even if it's just holding the light. So patience, knowing that like good things will come, and focusing on like, how am I going to help my community instead of like tending to my own medicine, now bringing it outward.
I'm also getting this like play in community and practicing your telepathy and your intuition and your synchronicities and practicing some of these modalities and these laws of the universe in community and getting really good at alchemizing. Because that's what we do in community. And when you hold that vision with other people, it just typically happens that much sooner.
Yeah.
Just a blink of an eye and there it is.
Like the fucking game that I said I might do tomorrow. I'm going on the 8th grade trip. And I don't know if I'm going to do this with them, but maybe this is a way that you can play in your community.
Yes.
As a way to offer your medicine, right? Because you're literally practicing accessing your medicine and sharing your medicine in community. So that could be like holding a potluck. That could be like dancing and singing together. That could be like making art together, whatever. But this one thing that I thought might be fun to do is to partner up with somebody. And let's say I'm person A, you're person B. And I'm going to set an intention. And it could be something really serious like love or like bliss or abundance. Or it could be something silly like my favorite food. I want to be eating my favorite food, right? And then just speaking gibberish to that person. Like literally whatever comes out, and do it for, set a timer, do it for like 5 minutes while partner B is writing down what they feel, what thoughts come to mind, playing this like intuitive game, almost activating your light language out without having it be a whole process of activating your light language. Just being like, I'm going to make these silly things and see if my intention in my gibberish words can be accessed by this person in front of me. And then you can flip jobs. You know, so like doing fun things like that in your community to also build connection, authenticity, vulnerability,
some
joy.
giggles.
Yeah. Just like, yeah.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
So what is your intention? What's dropping into your field this month? Comment below, like, subscribe, prescribe.
And maybe your intention is to like, share, subscribe.
Please.
Just kidding. Make it whatever floats
Make it
your
whatever
boat.
you want, but that could be a cool bonus. Listen, help your girls out, okay? That's how you can help the community.
I know. I feel like we're finally at a point where we're ready to be seen.
Yeah.
We're really ready to be seen.
Yeah. And I'm hyped about that.
I am too.
Because as I said last episode, prior to this, it was all our history with it. And that's tough and heavy and deep. And now it's just like, this shit's happening right now. And you know what's happening right now? We're saying goodbye. We're eating a snack. We're smoking a joint. We love you. We will see you next month. Hopefully with some fun, cool things to share.
We love you.
Say bye, baby.